Hi all, this is Yana here, and in this tutorial I will show you how I set up a Blender scene for my animations. We will go through save areas, composition guides, camera and render properties, increasing undo steps, and saving presets. Let's begin with the camera. Just select it, go to the Properties editor and choose the icon at the bottom of the list. I will skip focal length, because it's your choice as an artist how you want to set it up, and I will go straight to the save areas. This feature comes from TV standards and shows which areas won't be cut off on different screen sizes. Many of us are used to working with a standard where title save is 20% and action save is 10%. However, while working on this video, I found out that this standard has been updated. It is now 10 and 7% respectively. Also, when setting up your save areas, you should consider your target platforms such as YouTube or Instagram to account for their user interface. You also have the center cut save areas property here. I don't use it, but just so you know, it is meant to show how a square screen would crop a widescreen video. Here are the numbers that you can copy, so it's up to you if you want to turn this on. To finish with the guidelines, let's scroll down to the viewport display and open composition guides. With one click, you get the grid for the rule of thirds. These 4 additional lines will help you plan the composition and action in your scene. There are also many other guidelines here for you to play with. In case you feel that these guidelines look even thinner in your Blender file than in my video, it might be actually true. Let's check it. Go to the Edit, Preferences, Interface, Line Width. I believe it is set as thin by default. Weirdly enough, it's the same as default option here, but when you choose thick, the text and those guidelines we created will look much more visible. While we are here, let's go down to System, Memory and Limits, Undo Steps. The default number is 32, but I'm sure you'll agree that sometimes you might need more, so we drag it to the maximum. Now, if you click in the bottom left corner, you should see Autosave Preferences turned on, or just click Save Preferences. And back to the camera properties. You can also turn on the golden ratio option, but at this point there are just too many guidelines on the screen and I personally get confused. You can Google golden ratio or golden spiral and save the picture that you like. Now let's scroll up a bit and turn on background images. Click Add Image and upload it into your scene. You can play with its position, rotation, scale, you can even flip it. I usually just set the opacity to 50%. In case you've suddenly lost your guidelines or your background image, make sure you check this button up here, Show Overlays, that can also be activated by the hotkey Shift-Alt-Z. Please notice that those buttons are window-specific. You can adjust those settings for every window. For example, I don't want to see bones and 3D cursor in camera perspective, but I still need them in user perspective. However, if you hide the camera itself in the viewport here or with the H hotkey, no matter the window, the background image will disappear with the camera. You can also hide it with these buttons in camera properties. And of course, Blender will lose your image if you move it to another folder. Last stop here. Let's go down again to the viewport display and turn on Passepartout. As I play with the opacity here, you can see how it darkens the area outside the camera view, which can also be super helpful. At this point, you might have a reasonable question: why haven't we seen camera resolution in camera properties? Well, you can find it in output properties. I work with 2K resolution. You can simply copy these numbers and even save it as a preset. And by the way, this is a very helpful button whenever you meet it. It means that not only you can save your own presets, but you can also choose from many options that Blender already has for you. Now let's have a look at render properties. Lots of settings are hidden here, but we'll need only 2 of them for now. First, we open Film. If you want to render your animation without a background, you need to check Transparent. Nothing changes in solid or material viewport shading, but if you switch to render, you'll see the difference. If you're wondering why your render background color is gray and mine is white, this is simply because I changed it in the world properties. I usually start my animation shorts with a white canvas, so I've set this color as my default. And another default color property that I prefer to change is hiding in render properties. We go back to render and scroll down to the color management. By default, you have AGX view, and I change it to standard view. For now, I'll choose our default AGX. See how the background color looks different already? But let's go further. I will select the cube, create a new material, and choose the color for it. You see the difference between the color in the properties and in the viewport? I'm sure there are ways to use AGX properly, but just to make my life easier, I go back to render properties and choose standard. We have just one more stop at view layer properties. And here we go to passes and turn on depth. This is super important if you want to mix 3D and grease pencil, as I do all the time in my scenes. You won't see anything in the viewport, but if I uncheck depth and press render in my funny legs scene, you will see that 3D mesh objects like Bob's arms or the tree get hidden behind the grease pencil hills and valleys. With this one option turned off, grease pencil layers lose depth and go to the front, when in reality all those hills should be behind Bob. And now you can go to File, Defaults, and save the startup file. So every time you open a new scene, you'll have standard color, 2K resolution, depth for grease pencil, and all those guidelines turned on. And don't worry, if you want, you can always load factory settings with one click. And that's all for today. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below and I will be happy to help. Next time I will show you how I use image and video references in Blender. And if you like this video and you want to join my journey, check out Funny Legs Animation Show, my solo animation project on my YouTube channel. And of course, like, subscribe, and let's explore Blender together. Have a nice day and see you soon!